Hey CES, Miss G here. Looking forward to teaching you a little bit more today in your theory packet. Today we're going to go through lesson 6 through lesson 9, which is the second section that we are doing in the packet. So through lesson 9, and we're also going to include the review of lessons 6 through 9. I'm going to go rather quickly. And then later today, I will also put on your next assignment of 10, 11, and 12 so that we get all caught up. The videos were new to me and how to do this, so a little behind with the videos. Don't worry, we're not behind with our work. If you haven't gotten it done, it's okay. Okay, keep breathing. We'll get it done when we get it done, and we're going to work to the best of our ability using this new system, okay? All right. Lesson 6 is note values. Boys and girls, it says, while the placement of the notes on the staff indicates the pitch, the duration of the notes, how long the notes are held, is determined by the note value, okay? And hopefully you've got your theory packet in front of you and a pencil, because now's the time to do that. Get your packet, get your pencil, so that as I'm talking, you can be writing. This is how we would do it at school. I would put it up on the overhead screen. You would be able to see what we were talking about, okay? So, at the beginning, it's telling us the note values. A whole note is drawn as an open oval, and it shows you the picture of a whole note. A whole note, I always think of it as like a lifesaver. It has a hole in the middle, so it lasts the whole measure, okay? So that's what I tell my students. The half note equals the duration of one whole note. Sorry, 2 half notes equal the duration. So when you have 2 of the half notes, which also have a hole, but they have a stem, that kind of cuts them in half. So we have 2 of those that equal to 1 whole note, okay? The whole note gets 4 beats. The half note get 2 beats each. This is beat 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? The last duration is for 4 quarter notes. They equal the duration of 1 whole note, and they look like this. They have the middle filled in. Remember, quarter notes represent the beat, and so they each get 1, all right? Then they're showing you a diagram down below, how we equal, it's kind of a mathematical equation. A whole note is equal to 2 half notes, okay? And then it says 2 half notes equals 4 quarter notes. So in other words, this is 4 beats, 2 of these is 4 beats, 4 of these are also 4 beats. They are all equal to each other. 1 half note equals 2 quarter notes. 2 beats, 2 beats. Okay? So it's mathematical. Stems extend downward on the left side when the note appears on or above the 3rd line of the music staff. So this is really important, and I know a lot of kids get this confused. So when you count up to the 3rd line, remember the bottom is toward, if you're facing your paper up like I am, when you face your paper up, you can see where the bottom is. It's toward the ground. This is toward the ceiling. So this is lower, this is higher. This one is showing that it's on the 3rd line of the music staff. It's the note B in treble clef. It's the note D in bass clef. When we have the note on that middle line, we can choose. We're the composer. We can put that stem either up or down. We get to choose, okay? Anything that goes higher up toward the ceiling, the stems must go down, and they must be on the left side of the note. That's the part that tends to confuse you. Make sure you draw your note head and then extend your stem from the left side of the head going down. The opposite of that is true for notes going up. The stem goes on the right side of the note and it goes up. This says stems extend upward on the right side when the note appears below the 3rd line of the staff. So anything that is below that 3rd line, starting with this note, which is A in your treble clef and C in bass clef, that particular note and anything below it, remember it's going toward the ground, that your stems must go up. So your stems are the sticks, right? Those are called stems. It's kind of like making a flower. If I took this little note head and then I drew my leaves around it, I could kind of make a flower out of it, couldn't I? Let me see if I can do that. That's kind of fun. Ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. Look, there's my flower note. Do you see it? And now I have my stem. And my stems must go up on the right side of the note head or the center of the flower. All right? Silly. Okay. Down at the bottom it said the stem length should continue to the space or line with the same letter name. So if the note is on the bottom line, it's the note F, then my stem should go up to the top line because it's also the note F. Remember? Elephants go backwards doing flips, or F-A-C-E. So we've got two F's, and that's for treble clef, okay? And stems extend to the F below when they go down. So it's the opposite. Here's my F. My stem's going to go down to that F space. What do they want us to do in the exercises? Number 1, fill in the blanks with the correct number. Okay, there's only one number to put in, and they're showing you a quarter note, and it says, how many of those do you need to equal a whole note? Well, 4 quarter notes equal 1 whole note, so the number is 4. How many quarter notes do you need for a half note? Remember that? 2 half notes equals, right? So how many quarter notes do we need? We need only 2 to equal 2 beats. So we're putting in the number 2 for the letter B. Okay? Excuse me. When we get to letter C, they're showing the whole note again, and they're saying, how many whole notes do you need to equal 4 quarter notes? Well, 4 quarter notes is 4 beats, and 1 whole note is 4 beats. So the answer would be 1. Okay? So you're writing those in. And I'm not going to do the rest for you. You're going to do the rest on D, E, and F. When you get to number 2, it says draw the stems in the correct direction with the correct length. Write the names of the notes between the staff. So we're looking at treble clef and bass clef. And all we're really thinking about, first of all, is our stems. Do the stems first. Don't try and do your stems and your letter names. Do your stems. So say to yourself, is this note, is it above or below the middle line? This note is below the middle line. Okay, so my stem has to go up on the right side. So I'm going to put my stem going up from the note head, and remember it's going to extend to where the next one would be, and that would be 8 notes away, so you got quite a ways to put that stem going up. How about the next one in treble clef? It's on the 1, 2, 3, 4th line. Is that higher than the 3rd line? Or is it lower than the 3rd line? It's higher than the 3rd line. So if it's going higher, the stems actually go down. That's where the confusion sometimes comes in. Wait a minute, my note's going up. Why is my stem going down? That's the way it is. Okay, the higher the note, the stem faces the down direction. So because it's getting higher, I'm putting in my down stem. And remember, it goes on the left side of my note. All right? Doesn't go down the center of my note. I don't want to make lollipops here. I know I said about flowers, you have to be careful because stems are usually in the center, but ours go on the side. Now the next one's cool. It's on the 1, 2, 3rd line. Guess what I get to do? I get to choose. Do I want it to go up or down? I'm the composer. Let me see. Ooh, I'm going to make it fancy. This goes up, this goes down. I'm going to make this one go up. But I could choose to go either way. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show Miss G that I know that it can go either direction. That's pretty cool. And my next one, is it up or down from that note? Think about which way the paper's going. It's going up. So my stem goes down. Okay, remember it's the opposite. Make that one a little longer. It's got to go down to that low C. Okay? And my last one, I'm looking at my note head and I'm saying, is it lower or higher than the B? It's lower. So my stem goes up. That's what's tricky. Okay, you say up, and when it goes down, the stem goes up. When it goes up, the stem goes down. Okay, so I'm saying it kind of backwards to myself. The only difference down here is that we're in bass clef, but that doesn't change the direction of your stems. Your stems still do the same thing, whether it's bass clef or treble clef. Below the middle line, stem goes up. On the middle line, I get to choose. I'm going to show Miss G that I know it can do both. And so on. Once I've done all of my stems, I'm not doing them all for you. Come on, people. And I'm going to then put my letter names in. But I forgot my letter names. I don't know my letter names. Oh, no. Yes, you do. Look, guys, they're right here. They're right back on lesson number 5. You can see every single one of them on the grand staff. You don't need to panic. Just look back there if you need to. The first note that I'm going to do is the one in bass clef on the second space. I'm looking back to lesson 5 and I'm going, oh, I don't remember that note. Let's see. It's on the second space and it is the note C. Okay? So you have to learn how to kind of navigate these pages. So I'm writing in my letter names. And of course, I'm going to put them right where they told me to, right in the middle of my staff. That's where they told me to write my letter names for today. Okay? Number 3 says, draw the treble clef and write the indicated notes. Use only notes within the staff. So I'm going to first of all make my treble clef. Do you remember how we make our treble clef? If you don't remember, you might get in trouble. Treble, treble. I'm so funny today. Not. All right. To put my treble clef in, I'm going to make that straight line over the staff. Then I'm going to, let me hold it up so you can see. Then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to sail through the D line, bring it around the G, and then hook it at the bottom. Remember? All right. And now it says I'm going to make a C whole note. Okay, and I can put it on the staff. And it says use whole notes. So do I have to put stems on them? Nope. I'm just putting my notes in. And I'm going to do that for every single one. This one is not going to be a whole note. This one's going to be a quarter note. Do I need to put a stem on that one? Yay, I do. So this one's a quarter note and it's an A. So I'm going to use my half moon method, like I taught you in the last video. And I'm going to say, oh, A is on the second space. So my stem goes up because it's a quarter note. And I have to have a stem on a quarter note, right? Are there stems there? Are there stems on half notes? Are there stems on whole notes? And I'm going to continue that. Down at the bottom, I'm just going to do the same thing for bass clef. So I'm putting in my F clef, making my bass clef. You can just copy it from right there. It's right up above you. And I'm going to do a E half note. All cows eat. It's on my third space. I've got a hole in the center of the note. Is that a half note yet? No. I've got to make it into a half note by adding a stem. Where's my stem going to go? Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? Well, is it above the third line or below the third line? It's above. So if it's above the third line, it's going up. So my stem goes down. Where does it go? On the left. You want to make sure it's on the left because Miss G is going to be checking, okay? That's how we do that page. You ready for the next one? Lesson number 7. Measure, bar line, and double bar. Hey guys, these are super important. If you get the direction of your stems and you get your half notes and your quarter notes and your whole notes, the next thing we do is we start dividing our music up into measures by adding bar lines. And at the end of our songs, there's always a double bar. If you look at one of your songs, like one of the songs that you're singing in choir right now? Let me see if I can find one right here in front of me. Yes, indeedy. I always have them handy dandy. And when I sing my song, what one am I going to look for? Let's look at the very last page of Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride. When I look at the last page of my song and I look way down at the bottom at the end, did you notice? There's a double bar. Song over. And that's really important because sometimes they make us go back during the song, and we know that because we don't see a double bar. Even though we might think the song has ended, it hasn't ended until we see the big guy, the double bar. Okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about in section number 7, which is lesson number 7. All right. In lesson 7, it says, music is divided into equal parts by bar lines. The area between the two bar lines is called a measure. So in other words, when we put the bar line down the center, we're dividing it up into measures. So this is a measure and this is a measure. Here's my bar line and here's my double bar. A double bar is written at the end of a piece of music. It is made up of one thin and one thick line, with the thick line always on the outside. In other words, the thick one always comes last. Okay? On the grand staff, the bar lines and the double bar lines pass through the entire staff. This is important. Some of the kids have been getting this incorrect when they've been turning in their work. When they make a grand staff, they think they aren't supposed to make the line there, but it goes all the way through the entire staff. Exercises. Number 1, divide the staff below into 4 measures with a double bar at the end. A single staff does not begin with a bar line. So in other words, it doesn't start here. Okay? If it were a grand staff, it's going to start with a line and a brace, remember, but not in a single staff. So we're not going to put one here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you the way I do it. I always, when I'm writing music, if I know that I'm going to have so many measures, and in this case we're going to have 4, I'm going to put my double bar right in. And so I'm putting in my thick line at the end and then adding my thin line in front of it. And I think I already did this, and it kind of is still here on this page. Anybody else notice that? Okay, so I've got my double bar in. And now I've got this much space to make 4 measures. So the thing about making measures, and one of the things they really didn't tell you to do, is to make them equal. Measures don't go like, this. Let me show you. I'll do them wrong the first time. I don't make a tiny measure and another tiny and then a huge one and an even huger one. I've got to make them equal, okay? Because I have to put whatever number of beats that I have to have per measure. My notes have to fit in between. So I'm going to erase those out because they are incorrect. Sometimes it's fun to do it wrong, isn't it? Okay? And I'm going to look and I'm going to go, I'm going to need 4 measures. So a lot of times what I do, 2, 3, is I kind of measure it by putting little tick marks at the top. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So how many bar lines am I going to need to make 4 measures? That's the question, right? I'm not making 4 bar lines, I'm making 4 measures. So I'm only going to need 3 bar lines because then it's going to divide it up into 4. Let's see if I'm right. So I'm going to put 1 there where my first tick is, 1 here, and 1 here. And then I'm going to erase my ticks at the top because those are going to be weird. They kind of helped me make my measures though. See how nice I've aligned them up? Now I've got measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, and measure 4. So I really only needed 3 bar lines. That's what's tricky. A lot of kids think, 4 measures, I need 4 bar lines. Nope, because your measures come between the bar lines. Number 2 says, draw a treble clef, divide the staff into 4 measures with a double bar at the end. Write any whole note in each measure and then name the notes on the lines below the staff. So I've already done this in my last one. Should be easy peasy. I'm copying from the top. I'm making a double bar, a single bar. I'm copying the exact same bar lines I made above. And now I'm adding, so I've got the same exact thing that I just did there. And now I'm going to add a treble clef right at the very, very beginning. I'm an expert at these now. One line, one sail through the D, around the G, curl it around, ta-ra! Got my treble clef. And now I'm going to put a whole note, and you remember? Oh, I don't remember what a whole note is. Oh, yes you do. It's right there. Go back and look if you need to. It's okay. All right? That's why I gave you this packet, because it really is helpful, and it helps you find where you're going. So I'm putting in my whole note, and I can put it wherever I would like. Do I need to put a stem on my whole note? No, just the note. I put it in, and then I write its letter name, and this one's on the first space. Got your hand staff? F-A-C-E. What's my letter? Hope you said F. That was pretty easy. I gave you the answer. Boom. Okay, and there's my F. Right? So have I done it all? I've got my bar lines, I've got my double bar, I've got my treble clef, and I've got my note and my letter. Okay, so I got to make sure I've done all those steps. On number 3, I'm drawing a bass clef. I'm dividing into 4 measures, putting my double bar, and I'm writing quarter notes, not whole notes. It's giving me 4 lines to write those notes, okay? So I'm not going to divide up the measures and do all that for you. You're going to do that by yourself. You're going to put in your bar lines. I'm going to put in 4 quarter notes, and I'm going to remember that I'm in bass clef. So I can write any 4 quarter notes, alternating the stem direction. Ooh, that means my first one has to be below the 3rd line, and so I'm going to put my first one in below the 3rd line. My next one has to be on or above it. And I put my notes in first with just my note heads, okay? I haven't added my stems yet. My next one has to go below it again because I'm alternating my stem direction. And my last one has to go above it. So, I started with one below the 3rd line. Then I did one on it. You could do it on it or above it. Then I did another one below it, and then another one above it, because now I'm going to put my stems in and see if they alternate. So I'm putting in one stem on the right because it's below the 3rd line, then the stem on the left, then the stem on the right, and then the stem on the left again. I've alternated my stems. Okay, gone up, down, or I could have gone down, up, depending on which note I start on, or I can do that in the next several measures. Then I have to write in my notes. I want to remember I'm in bass clef. So I've got all cows eat gas. Cows eat gas? No. All cars eat gas, or all cows eat grass. And then I've got good boys do fine always for my lines. So my first note is an A for all. My second one is on the 3rd line, good boys do. Okay. All. Oh, Miss G made a mistake. See? Happens to teachers too. This is a C. Hello, Miss G. Because it's bass clef. And I knew that. I just made a little mistake. So we're on a C. All cows. And then we've got good boys do. And now what's this one? That's your A. All right? That's the one for all. And then I've got one on the 4th line. Good boys do fine. That's my F. Have I done all the steps? Well, I will have had to put my bar lines in. I will put my bass clef at the beginning. I'm not doing this for you. You guys can do this. And then I make sure and fill in all my answers. Here comes the fun one. This one says on number 4, draw a grand staff. Divide the staff below into 4 measures with a double bar at the end. So I'm going to do what it says each step at a time. Draw a grand staff. Remember, the grand staff is going to have the bar lines completely through the entire 2 staffs, not just 1, 2 staffs. So I'm going to make my bar line at the beginning, and connect it. I'm going to do my brace. I love making these. They're so much fun. It's like a little seagull flying sideways. Then I'm going to add my treble clef on the top, making my line, making my sail, curl around G, and I'm done. And my bass clef, I'm on the F line, curl around, and my 2 dots on either side of the F, so that I make an F clef. You know, I'm just looking at what did we do. This is review. I love the way they do this because they keep adding on, don't they? And you keep having to practice. Then you put in your bar lines. I'm making 4. I'm going to do them exactly the way I did the ones above. Hey, you might even notice all of my bar lines on this page line up with each other. Did you notice that? That's because they're the same distance, because they're the same size. Did you notice I went all the way through? I'm going to do 2 more and a double bar. And then I am going to write any 2 half notes. Okay, do we remember? Half notes have a hole in their head, but they still have a stem. So I'm going to put in any 2 half notes in each measure, alternating the stem direction. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to do my bass clef half note, and a treble clef half note, and I have to already say to myself, I'm going to make 1 lower than the 3rd line and 1 higher than the 3rd line, because I have to alternate the stem direction. I'm going to do 2 notes on spaces just for fun, and now I'm going to add my stems. My low note has a stem going up. My high note has a stem on the left going down. I've got my half notes. Is there anything else? I've got to name my pitches. I've got a C again. I used all cows. And then I've got my top space, F-A-C. See if you know what it was. Hopefully you got it right. Okay, you are done with number 7. On to number 8. We're just moving right through today. On number 8, we have time signature and note values, okay? So boys and girls, the time signature appears at the beginning of the music after the clef sign. So after you put in your treble or bass clef, you add your time signature. It contains 2 numbers, one above the other, and it's showing us a 4/4 time signature. The upper number tells you how many beats or counts are in each measure. In this case, the upper number is a 4, so we have 4 beats per measure. Top number tells you the beats per measure. The bottom number, it says, indicates what type of note receives 1 beat. And remember what I told you on the other page? Whenever you see a quarter note, you know it gets 1. Guess what? This 4 is representing quarter, because 4 stands for quarter. So this 4 is the same as a quarter note. So whenever you see a 4 on the bottom, it means that a quarter note is getting 1. Okay? So I would need, if I was going to fill up a measure, I would need to have 4 quarter notes. Okay? Or, like we learned, 2 half notes, because I have to have all 4 beats. I don't have to use quarter notes. I can use combinations. I could use a half note and 2 quarter notes. I could use a half note and 2 quarter notes. I already said that. I could use 4 quarter notes. I could use a whole note. Okay? There's some more options coming on the next page. All right. So boys and girls, a quarter note is equal to 1 count. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, clap the rhythm evenly. I know you know how to do this. And so when we clap, ah, 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 we keep a nice steady beat. A half note is equal to 2 counts. Count and clap the rhythm evenly. So we've got ta, ta. Remember how I taught you to clap those? Ta, ta, because you hold the second beat. And then the last one, it's showing you a whole note is equal to 4 counts. Count and clap the rhythm and hold your hands together for the ta. Remember how I told you to do it? See if you remember. This was way back when you were like in second grade, third grade for some of you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe even first grade. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we hold the whole note. Let's go over those again. Here's the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if I wanted to do 2 quarter notes and a half note? How would I do it? Think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if I wanted to start with a half note and then add 2 quarter notes? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can practice clapping my patterns too. That's really good for you. In number 1, it says add the following notes to get the total number of beats. So you're adding these notes together and you're coming up with how many beats they are going to total. So we've got a half note followed by a quarter note. This one they did for us, right? 2 quarter notes is 2. But 1 half note, that's 2 beats. 1 quarter note, that's 1 beat. 2 plus 1 is, I know you said it, right? 2 plus 1 is 3. We've got a half note and another half note. 2 plus 2 is Now, in this one, it kind of surprises me because most of the time we're in 4/4 time on this whole page, and then they throw something in like this last one, a whole note and a whole note, which never happens because we don't count up to 8. This is 4 plus 4. The answer is 8, but really, it would be thought of in music as 4 plus 4. We don't count to 8 unless our time signature is in 8, which is not very often because it's not a very common signature. But the answer there would be 8, okay? All right. Number 2 says, draw bar lines, a double bar, does this sound familiar? At the end, and stems on the appropriate notes in the following example so that there are 4 beats in each measure. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, and then it says count and clap, okay? First thing I'm going to do, you guys, is draw my bar lines. So, because they're giving me the beats, I know I have to have a bar line after every 4 beats. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, bar line. 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 And then what am I going to do with the last one? Double bar. 1 thick guy. 1 little guy, bar lines complete. Now I'm looking like I've got some music here, okay? Now I'm going to take a look at my notes and I'm going to put my stems in. Is this on or below the 3rd line? These first 2 are the same and they are the same as this one. So the stem would go up just the same, right? So I'm going to put my stems in. And did you notice in the first measure there's no stem because it's a whole note, okay? This one's going to need a stem. These 4 are going to need stems, and this one is too, but they're all on the same space. So that's going to be easy peasy. All of them should be facing, okay. And then it says count and clap and say ta or ta-ah or ta-ah, just what we just did, right? So I'm looking at my music right now. I'm going to put my pencil down, and I'm going to do what Miss G just showed me. I'm going to say, oh, whole note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second measure, 2 quarter notes and a half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third measure, 2 half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next measure, 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then last measure, 2 half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, that's after I get all my stems in, right? Because they don't look like that without the stems. I'm going to do the whole thing without stopping, and I'm going to keep a steady beat. So I've got my foot, and I'm going to tap my foot to this nice steady beat. And let's see if you can hear it. 1, 2. So I'm counting inside of my head. My foot's doing the tap, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I kept it nice and steady. And you practice that. Hey guys, on number 3, write in the 4-4 time signature. Woohoo! How do I do that? They make the fancy 4s, don't they? Do you guys know how to make fancy 4s? They're really not very hard. It's and as you notice with the time signature in this one, your first 4 comes down to the 3rd line. Your first one comes to the 3rd line, and the one underneath comes up to the 3rd line. And when I make fancy 4s, I'm just going to make a straight line. I'm going to do one on the outside so you can see it. And then I'm going to come down like I'm making that sail like I made before. And then I'm going to cut across. Okay? You can practice some of those in the margin. That'd be good. And I'm going to put my 4-4 in, coming down with my first line. I'm going to go up, just like that. I went up first. Let's see if you can see it while we do this. Sorry to not focus here. All right. So I'm going to go up here. Then I'm going to come across and over. And I've made my first one. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing underneath it. I can't really do it from this angle very well. Okay? But I'll do another one right underneath, going up, across, and over. So I've lined up my nice 4-4s. Okay? That's what you want to do. And then it says, write the time signature, fill in the missing beats, if any, and adding only 1 note per measure. Now, a lot of kids turn this in incorrectly. They are putting all kinds of notes. You only get to do 1 per measure. I've only got 4 beats. They gave me a half note, so I could either put in, what? 3, I can only add 1 note. I have to add another half note because I can only put in 1, and it's going to come on beat 3. And I'm going to just leave it right where they did, right on my A space. Making this easy. It doesn't have to be hard. Okay, practicing counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I only get to add 1 pitch, 1 note. So I'm going to now look at my next measure. They've given me 1, and they've given me a half note, which is going to take up 2, 3. And what am I going to put on beat 4? What note gets only 1 beat? Because beat 4 is only 1 beat. Did you say a quarter note? Hopefully you did, because if you did, you are correctamundo. It's a quarter note. Okay, so now I've only added my 1 note. You're going to do that for all the rest of the measures in number 8. Okay, guys, good stuff. All right, I did not make it to lesson 9 or to the review of 6 through 9. And I have to stop for a few minutes because I have a meeting with my high school choir right now. So I'm going to come back and do lesson number 9 and then the review of 6 through 9. And then by tomorrow, I'm going to do 10, 11, and 12 because I got to get caught up and you got to get caught up. Okay? So that's the plan. And so I will see you for lesson 9 and the review of 6 through 9 coming up soon. Okay, it's been fun. I love teaching you. I wish I could see your faces. I hope you're spending some time doing this. You won't be sorry that you did this because you will not get behind on your learning. And I'm proud of you for even trying. Okay, guys? Have a wonderful rest of your week. See you in a bit.